Book 1 treats of the divine foreordainment of Christ and his mother as the highest ideals of all creation, of the creation of the angels and men as their servants, of the lineage of the just men, finally resulting in the Immaculate Conception and birth of the Queen of Heaven, and of her life up to her presentation in the temple. Chapter 1 Concerning two special visions vouchsafed to my soul by the Lord, and concerning other enlightenments and mysteries, which compelled me to withdraw from earthly things and raised my spirit to dwell above the earth. I confess to thee and magnify thee, King Most High, that in thy exalted majesty thou hast hidden these high mysteries from the wise and from the teachers, and in thy condescension hast revealed them to me, the most insignificant and useless slave of thy church, in order that thou mayest be the more admired as the omnipotent author of this history in proportion as its instrument is despicable and weak. After I had overcome the above-mentioned reluctance and disorderly fears which caused so much timid hesitation, lest I suffer shipwreck in that sea of marvels, the most exalted Lord caused me to feel a virtue from on high, strong, sweet, efficacious, and gentle, an enlightenment which illumined the intellect, subjected the rebellious will, tranquilizing, directing, governing, and attracting the whole range of interior and exterior senses, thus subjecting my entire being to the will and pleasure of the Most High, and directing it in all things towards his honor and glory alone. Being thus prepared, I heard a voice from the Almighty, which called me and raised me up toward him, exalting my dwelling place on high, and strengthening me against the lions that hungrily roared about me, in order to snatch my soul from the enjoyment of great blessings and the boundless mysteries of this holy tabernacle and city of God. Surrounded by the sorrows of death and perdition, and beset by the flames of Sodom and Babylon in which we live, it liberated me from the portals of sorrow into which I was enticed to enter. My enemies, forming visions of fallacious and deceitful delights for the misleading of my senses and the capture of them by pretended pleasures, set their allurements about me in order that I might blindly turn toward these flames and be consumed by them. But from all these snares laid for my footsteps, the Most High has delivered me, elevating my spirit and teaching me by the most efficacious admonitions the way of perfection. He invited me to a life spiritualized and angelic, and obliged me to live so cautiously that in the midst of the furnace the fire touched me not. He often liberated me from the impure tongue when it sought to communicate to me its earthly fables. His Majesty invited me to rise from the dust and littleness of the law of sin, to resist the defections of sin-infected nature and restrain its disorders, combating them by his enlightening inspirations and raising myself above myself. He called me repeatedly, sometimes by the power of his omnipotence, sometimes with the correction of a father, and at others with the love of a spouse, saying, "Arise, my dove, creation of my hands, make haste and come to me, who am the light and the way. He that follows me walks not in darkness. Come to me, who am the secure truth and unchangeable holiness, to me, who am the powerful and the wise, and the teacher of those that follow wisdom." These words were like arrows of sweet love, which filled me with admiration, reverence, knowledge, and dread of my sins and of my vileness, so that I retired from his presence, shrunken and annihilated in the knowledge of my nothingness. And the Lord spoke to me, "Come, O soul, come to me, who am thy omnipotent God. And although thou hast been a prodigal child and a sinner, arise from the earth and come to me, thy Father. Receive the stole of my friendship and the ring of a spouse." Still remaining in that secure retreat of which I have spoken, I saw on a certain day 6 angels whom the Almighty had appointed to assist and guide me in this undertaking and in other dangers. Coming toward me, they purified and prepared my soul, and then presented me before the Lord. His Majesty gave to my interior being a new light and, as it were, a participation in glory by which I was made capable and desirous of seeing and understanding the things which are so above the powers of a mere terrestrial creature. Soon after, two other angels of a still higher order appeared to me, and I felt within me the power of the Lord by which they called me. I understood that they were most mysterious envoys, and that they wished to reveal to me high and hidden sacraments. Eagerly I responded, and desirous of enjoying the blessing which they pointed out to me, I declared to them how ardently I longed to see what they wished to show me, and yet so mysteriously concealed from me. Then they at once answered with great serenity, "Restrain thyself, O soul." I turned to the great princes of heaven and said, "Princes of the Almighty, and messengers of the great King, why do you now detain me contrary to my will, and why do you defer my joy and my delight after you have called me? What force is this of yours, and what power which calls me, fills me with fervor, which allures and yet detains me, which attracts me to follow after the odor of my beloved Lord and of his ointments, and yet restrains me with strong bonds? Tell me the cause of all this." They answered, "Because, in order to be instructed in all these mysteries, thou must needs, O soul, come with bare feet and despoiled of all thy desires and passions, for these mysteries do not accommodate or lend themselves to disordered inclinations. Take off thy shoes like Moses, for such was the command given to him before he could see the wonderful bush." "Princes of heaven and my lords," I answered, "much was asked of Moses when he received the command to perform the works of an angel while yet living in mortal flesh. But he was a saint, and I am but a sinner full of miseries. My heart is disturbed, and I am in conflict with the slavery and the oppression of sin, which I feel in my members, and which are opposed to the law of the Spirit." To which they rejoined, "Soul, it would indeed be for thee a most difficult enterprise, if thou hadst to execute it merely with thy own power. But the Most High, who wishes to see in thee this disposition, is powerful, and he will not deny thee his help, if from thy heart thou ask his assistance, and thou prepare thyself to receive it. And his power, which caused the bush to burn, and at the same time prevented it from being consumed, can prevent also the fire of the passions which encompass and beset the soul from consuming it, if it truly desires to be saved. His Majesty asks for that which he desires, and can execute what he asks. Strengthened by him, thou canst do that which he commands. Take off thy shoes and weep in bitter sorrow. Call out to him from the bottom of thy heart, in order that thy prayers may be heard and thy desires fulfilled.